Your weekly in-depth view of agriculture up close. This is In the Field. Presented by Gordon's Feed and Pet. Few may know of this local gem right here in the Ozarks. Welcome to Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. We're here today to learn how this simple magazine has taken them global. So Kathy, I understand that you've been here at Baker Creek Seed since nearly the beginning of the birth of the business. Now take me back to the very beginning. How did all this get started?
Well, Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, it's a relatively young company. It's only 21 years old, and I have been here for 10 of those years. So I've seen the growth of the company that all started right here in this house. When Gergetto was 17 years old, he sent out his first seed catalog. He and his friend Andrew sat there in his bedroom, packed up seeds, and sent out a little catalog. I believe he sent out 250 copies of that catalog, and now we print 750,000 copies of the catalog. And Gergetto still lives there now with his wife Emily and their 4 children. His parents that lived here when he started the company built a new house over across Baker Creek, and the company gets its name from the creek that runs there. Many people tend to think it's the Baker family, but it's actually named after the creek that runs through the property. So this is where it all started, and I've seen it grown up, with lots of things, all kinds of buildings added and new seeds and so forth.
So Jared started at 17 years old with a foresight to start something that at that point, he probably didn't know it would expand to this level of success. But what sparked that first idea?
He always had a love of seeds. He actually planted his first seeds when he was 3 years old. By the time he was 12, he was really interested in saving seed diversity, and he kept collecting seeds, and he had so many he needed to do something with them. So first he was selling them at swap meets and so forth, and then it was when he was 17 he really turned a hobby into a business, and he had no idea that it was going to get as big as it is. He never had a goal to amass wealth. His goal was to save seed diversity, and he wanted to make enough money to continue looking for rare seeds. And in those early days, it was he and his friend Andrew getting in their car, driving to Mexico, sleeping in the car, etc., because there was no money. And he just wanted to make enough money to keep finding rare seeds. And now we send employees all over the world collecting those rare seeds. So the company has done very well with just his goal in mind of saving seed diversity and finding rare seeds.
So fast forward 21 years later, let's talk about the business today.
Okay, the business has just grown tremendously. We actually ship seeds to every state in the United States, as well as 70 foreign countries. It came out, Jared will be the first to admit the business took a boom in the year 2000. Those of us who are old enough to remember the Y2K scare, when everybody thought the computers were going to crash and there would be no food. And so that started a gardening movement. The only thing is, here 18 years later, the gardening movement has done nothing but continue to grow. So that was the big impetus for it gave his business a real shot, but then that was followed with a love of gardening and a love of heirloom seeds. And that has continued the business to just grow and grow more than he ever imagined.
And heirloom seeds sit at the foundation of the company. Let's head on over to the seed store and learn more about them.
Let's go.
Well, as you can see, all of the seeds are heirloom seeds, but many people may not truly know what an heirloom seed is. Take us through that definition.
That is actually probably the most common question I get, what is an heirloom seed? And if you look it up in the dictionary, there's actually controversial answers to that. There are people who say that an heirloom seed has to be 50 years old. And so, you get down to hard and fast rules. Here at Baker Creek, we say that an heirloom seed is a seed with a history. It's been passed down from generation to generation. So all of these seeds here, all of our seeds we sell, right now we carry about 1,200 varieties, and they're all heirloom, which means one thing that everyone agrees about heirloom seeds is that they must be open pollinated, which means they will be pollinated in nature naturally without any human involvement. So all of our seeds are open pollinated, they are non-patented, non-GMO, non-treated.
So you mentioned that you've been gardening for years. but you keep adding new varieties. Is it too early, we're in the dead of winter, to start planning for our spring garden, or should we start doing that now?
You should start doing it right now. Actually, our catalog comes out just before Christmas for that reason, because everybody starts planning right after Christmas of what they're going to plant. And this is the most helpful thing. This is our free catalog. It's available to anyone who just calls and asks us for a copy of it. This is a really good way to start, is to sit there and dream.
So they've dreamed and they've gone through the catalog, drooling over all the beautiful things they want to plant. What's the next step?
Well, the most common mistake is the one that I made myself when I started working here, and that is wanting to plant too much. So people come into the store, and if they're first-time gardeners, they're asking a question, where do I start, what do I plant? And it's surprising how many first-time gardeners we get. Everything from kids to teenagers to actually old folks who are now starting to garden for health reasons or whatever. And I always tell them one thing: plant what you want to eat. Plant what you want to grow. Start there and then branch out from there.
When should they start making the orders to purchase those seeds so they have them when they need to be in the ground this spring?
Most of our seeds, we have a good supply to last throughout the entire season, but there are some seeds that we have a limited supply, so the earlier you get your order in, the more likely you are to get the seeds that you wanted. We do sell seeds year-round, but February and March are really when most people are ordering their seeds. That's when people in the colder climates are starting their plant starts, their tomatoes and peppers, etc. It's also when people are planting actually in the ground their greens, their cold crops, etc.
You talked about how the big boom in gardening started back in 2000 and it has only gotten larger. But beyond backyard gardens that I produce, people are making businesses out of growing and selling produce locally. So I'm sure that you've seen business in growing produce year-round, whether it's in high tunnels or in greenhouses.
Yes, that's true. I worked 1 year in shipping department, and that summer there was almost no seeds to ship. We just didn't have business to ship. Now our shipping department stays busy all year long because we have not only people growing year-round, even in the hot part of the summer they can use shaded greenhouses to still grow during that season. Plus, we have so much business abroad. When we're putting our gardens to bed, the people in Australia are just starting to plant there. So we have lots of business now. It's just grown exponentially.